My name is Rob Hoke, Yadak Caldatona. Thank you for joining me. I have a little poem. It's entitled Night Songs. When Jesus had said this, as they were watching, he was lifted up, and a cloud took him out of their sight. Acts chapter 1, verse 9. The thing with feathers sings and never stops at all. As metaphor for hope, perhaps, but maybe not the real bird, the bird that serenades the dawn or the end of day, its canticles cued by crepuscular light or lengthening shadow. What will become of that thing without feathers, or this text without lips, when there is no bird to chant or call? Once upon a time, the bird's morning jubilation and evensong would grow suddenly still, as if on cue. But now we have created a star after our own likeness, a star that never sets, inaugurating eternally a new creation, or the end of it, and neither pain nor suffering anymore, where this is also no more. Skyscrapers and skylines, street lights and storefronts hide the moon, mask the matin, and disguise the vesper, so that we, along with the robin, cardinal, mockingbird, blackbird, and killdeer, know neither sleep nor song, nor the hour of prayer. Newly hatched sea turtles flee the ocean rather than scurrying towards it. Migratory birds who mark their path by moonlight collide with mirror-clad buildings. Moths cluster in vain around street lights rather than pollinating plants in waiting. And the fireflies that seem to set the forest floor ablaze are growing fewer. Once upon a time, in 1968, Apollo 8's astronaut William Anders snapped a shot that became known as Earthrise. Now, in 2026, Artemis shows us another side, the night side, an Earth set, the blues and whites of our home sinking like a song in stillness. Yet for now, the birds still sing. The news last night left me feeling hopeless, full of dread. I went to bed thinking I should be on the street protesting, weeping out loud, not eating a Sunday meal with my family or tinkering away in the garden. People in Gaza being starved and shot to death when they come to aid distribution points. Sight of their people grieving, a young boy sobbing uncontrollably. Just writing it brings on a wave of sadness. All night I dreamed of declaring a month-long fast, a protest or lament. In my dreams, people try to talk me out of it, or wonder whether it is wise, or whether I am undergoing a mental health crisis. Isn't it a mental crisis to not undergo crisis? Is it healthy to be healthy? I feel as if we don't know how to grieve, not really. The news, how it reports tragedy and loss, feels dissociated. I want the newscaster's voice to break, to see some sign that this grips him too. I want the analytical shell to suddenly crack and reveal a human embryo inside, trembling or vulnerable. I want a community that will say to me it is okay to grieve and necessary. I want someone to hold a space for that kind of being. I mentioned tinkering. It wasn't as if, while replacing the rusted hinges on the sheds outside, or planting the roof garden, or tending to flowers in front of the cottage, it wasn't as if I'd forgotten these open wounds. Like a gardener, I'd found a piece of my world where I could execute forms of repair that helped in small ways. Maybe feeding the birds is a piece with that. And this feels like something I need as well, some place where my hand and skills can apply a balm of simple repair. In a world that feels out of control, an hour in the garden with plants that persist even when I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, or applying quick fixes that are not expert but good enough. These make me feel as if there's a place here, a there. But when I am seeing the grief of others, fearing its arrival at my house, then I am filled with something else, and it feels like no use to say a bit of time in the garden or tending to the birds is enough. Such acts are not to be treated as trivial, but they should also be taken in moderation, not as escape, but as an ordinary grace given to us by the Creator, which helps us feel whole again. Yet the labor of grieving is also part of our work, part of what Creator desires. Think about a time of grief or loss. Do you remember what it was like to be bored in the hospital, while just a few steps away, your mom or grandparent was dying in surgery? How do you feel about those two emotions living so close together? They call them singers of heavy songs, the medicine people of the Blackfeet Nation. During a Native meeting, our representative tells us that our numbers are dropping. She tells us there are just 900 original elders in the Eyak Nation, my mom among them. Our morbidity rates, she says, are among the highest in the nation. Suicide, domestic abuse, addiction. The numbers mask the stories that we don't talk about. It feels strange to hear this so matter of fact as we, the survivors, take it in, count the names of the ones we've lost, a part of the business end of Native governance. A reservation where 1/3 of the children report thinking about suicide or report depression has started a class on suicide prevention. They link the healing tradition of the medicine people, the singer of heavy songs, with the death grind genre, bands with names like Carcass, Exhumed, Eczema. The music's aggressive, a muscle in a spasm of rage or meaninglessness, indistinguishable and loud. The teacher starts the music. The kids start tapping their pencils, heads bobbing, and the teacher too. James Brown's explosive shouts, grunts and growls, they said, reach back to the circle, the gospel, and the slave songs. A school in the Congo becomes a home for girls and women victims of war crimes, rape, some bringing the children of violence, all carrying shame and ostracized by their communities. Some will write out their story, finding a song for it, to process, to survive, to name the beauty that exists and defies and persists. When the teacher turns off the music, the kids don't want it to stop, but maybe it needs to. They talk about the feeling, the pain, the hurt, they say. The hurt, someone says, does not exist to unmake you. It exists to bring you back to yourself. You're a part of the world, they say, not apart from it. They sing. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you again. Bye for now.